afternoon, everybody.
Yes, and good morning to those in WA.
Thank you to so many of us joining all around Australia this afternoon. My name is Lucas Stone. I'm the General Manager here at GGS, and this is Discovering DTF, our special live event webinar that we're bringing to you this afternoon. I'm joined here by Ian Stone.
Very excited.
Around the country, around the room, we have several of our colleagues who I will be introducing you to soon, so stay tuned for that. Before we get going, just wanted to start with some housekeeping. So for those of you guys that are already here, you'll notice there's a Q&A option. So really want to get that fired up right now and see where you guys are joining us from around Australia. We know there's been registrations from all around the country. So if you can jump into that chat and tell us where you're joining from, that would be really awesome.
Let's make this as interactive as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's make it as interactive as we possibly can. The other thing that we really want to know is what are you doing DTF at the moment, and what type of DTF are you doing? Are you doing sheet fed? Are you doing roll fed? Are you getting your sheets outsourced? So jump into that chat. I've got Joanne from Cranbourne in Western Australia. Hi, Joanne. Good to have you on board this afternoon. Yeah, so we want to know where you're joining from and what type of DTF you are doing. The other thing that you'll notice about the chat is we do have a Q&A. So if you want to ask a question of us presenters here at any time, pop that in the Q&A section and it will collate all of the topics into a thread, and we'll make sure that we answer those as soon as we can. We're going to try and do that throughout the course of the webinar. So as Ian said, we are going to make it as interactive as possible. So make sure you drop any questions that you have into the Q&A there.
Exactly. Don't be scared to ask. Don't be scared to ask. Ask straight away. If it's something that we're talking about, ask at that point, and we'll cover it for you. Absolutely.
So this webinar is really a follow-on from 3 events that we have done around the country. We did an event at the end of last year here in Sydney in our showroom. Then we went to Brisbane. We had over 40 people turn up in Brisbane.
Great event.
Amazing event up there. Love our Queensland customers. And then we went down to Melbourne. We had a similar turnout in Melbourne a few months ago.
Yep, they put it on down there for us too.
And we just really wanted to bring you this webinar because everything that we have here today is different to what we showed you at those events. So for those people that attended those events, there was equipment that was too big for us to bring in our little truck around to Brisbane and to Melbourne. And we've got that here in the showroom today. And we're going to have that equipment at PacPrint as well, which is coming up on the 20th of May. So we're calling this our PacPrint preview, a bit of a rehearsal for that. So we do encourage you to come down to PacPrint because you will have an opportunity to see all this equipment in person and see it demoed in the flesh. Now, just for some context about how, I guess, big today is, we have a studio set up in the corner of our showroom, but we've had to take over the entire space today with the ROQ IMPRESS and the Roland TY-300. Yeah, so this is us here. Hello. In the corner. And then over there, we've got the Brother Roll-to-Roll machine and then the Coltex in the corner. So it really is a huge event that we have planned for you today. And we hope you find it really, really enjoyable and worth your time. Now, before we kick into the content, we do just want to say a big thank you to all of our customers. We can't do what we do without all of you guys. So whether you're an existing GJS customer or you are new or you just heard about us and this is the first time that you are experiencing a GJS event, thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and thank you for being a member of our big purple printing family. Now we say purple printing family because usually we are wearing purple shirts, that's our color, but today we do have special shirts on. But yeah, we just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being really loyal customers and supporting us. And we hope that we can continue to support you. So today's agenda, I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide. in the first half now, we're going to take you through a little bit of what is DTF printing. So I can see in the chat here that we've got some people who are currently doing DTF, some people who are not doing DTF at the moment, some people who have got a brother. So we're just going to do a quick overview of what is DTF printing, a bit about the market opportunity that exists for people who are looking to get into DTF. Then we're going to start with sheet-fed printers and move on to the roll machines. As I said, some exclusive previews today. We're going to do a cross to Epson, and then we're going to move on to some of the automation tools that can really help you speed up your DTF production. And then in the last half an hour, we're going to go through some tips for DTF success. We do have a special guest from EcoLease who is going to join us to talk about finance. And then we'll wrap up with some final questions at the end if we don't get a chance to answer any of those as we go through. But let's start by talking about what is DTF printing. Ian, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I will. DTF, obviously, well, people out there that know what DTF is, it's printing digitally to a film and then transferring it onto a shirt or onto a fabric product. Not just restricted to shirts. I hate hearing that when you direct to garment printing, for example. Yeah. This is a printing option for all your fabrics. So anything from shoes to hats, to even socks, shirts, bags.
Tote bags.
That's exactly right. You can print onto so many different products. But it's good to start about where it started from, I suppose. So the first method to be able to create those products would have been screen printing.
Yep.
All right, so you start off with screen printing. If you had a multiple color image, you'd have to break that down, make up multiple colored screens, and then manually screen print to those products directly to them. A natural transgression from there was into plastisol, transfer printing. So using the screen printing process, but printing onto a film, applying a powdered glue or a printed on glue, and then transferring that across to your substrate. Well, obviously then we transferred into digital printing.
Yep.
So along came all the digital print options and your DTG printers. So with DTG, we obviously need to put the shirt onto the machine. It'll go into the machine and print directly to it. All right, now, the next step from that, just like it was with screen printing, was being able to print onto a film. So now we can use either the roll-to-roll machines or the sheet-fed machines, print onto the film, apply a powder or a glue, then cure it through an oven, and then heat press it across onto the product. Yeah. So it's a great way to decorate all of your fabric products.
And I guess one of the big things is no weeding, right?
Yes. For those of you out there that are actually doing HTV, I'm sure that you know about weeding and the use of weeding hooks, etc., to weed all that excess out. Yeah. With DTF, yeah, zero weeding. It's only putting down the ink that is being applied to the product. That's it. So there's no extra. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good summary. Let's talk a little bit about the market opportunity. So if we can just get that slide up. So there's some pretty big numbers here. So the global textile market as of last year valued at around about 8.8 billion Australian dollars, 5.7. That's with a B. Yeah, that's with a B in it, not million. And I think that the stat that you always like to pull out here, Ian, is that by 2030, that market is really expected to increase to about $11.5 billion. And what we're really seeing is direct to film is taking even more and more of the share of that market away from some of the other printing methods. Yeah,
100%. And it will only grow as well. A lot of reasons why. Obviously, with direct-to-garment and other options, we can't print the synthetics, polyesters and things like that, but with DTF we can. Yeah. So it opens up a whole new market, and therefore that growth will continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's focus in a little bit on the APAC region, because this is something that is really, really interesting from a stats perspective. And I think it speaks to a lot of opportunity that we have here in Australia and our region to capitalize on some of the growth that's happening here. And I think the reason why we are, I guess, considered an emerging market is some of the places like the United States and Europe have had some of this technology earlier than us. They're obviously bigger markets and things like that. We obviously have proximity to China. So, you know, we've been outsourcing a lot of things. So The APAC region is the fastest growing region in the world for digital garment decoration. Yeah, and DTF is continuing to drive that trend.
Yeah, my word, definitely is. And yeah, like Lucas was saying, overseas, obviously, previously, you don't have control of the quality control. So if you're getting things done overseas and then importing them into Australia, they turn up and they're wrong, you've got to get them redone. Being able to do it all here on shore ensures us that we get the perfect quality product out.
Yeah, amazing. Now let's start with some of, I guess, the entry level or sheet fed products that we have available. So do you want to talk through the two products that we have from Epson first?
Yeah, of course, no problems at all. Now, obviously, it was DTG, and we started to transition the DTF process onto DTG machines. All right, these being shirt-fed machines, we actually put a shirt onto it and they go into the machine. We just had to transfer it across to use a film. So now we can apply the film to those sheet-fed machines. It'll go in, print exactly like it does, but in the reverse process. So instead of putting down the white first and then the colour, it now puts down the colour first, reversed, and then the white on top. We then apply the glue to the back of it and press them across. So Epson have two fantastic sheet-fed machines at the moment.
Yep.
They have a smaller entry level that they've just released. It's more of a kiosk-style machine. Prints on a smaller bed size, but it still can either DTG or DTF. It's a hybrid machine.
Yeah.
So we can use it in both methods. They've also got the larger machine, which is the third generation, the F2260. Some of you people might be lucky enough out there to have already had an F2000 or an F2160. They've just recently released the third generation F2260, and they've dubbed it the hybrid machine.
Yeah. Because
it can now easily create DTG products and DTF products as well.
Yeah.
Now, they obviously work off two different sizes, all right, as I mentioned. And just to give you an idea of those two different sizes, all right, we've got the film size.
I'll hold the film size. If you...
Yep, the film sizes for us.
Yeah.
All right, so you can see that Lucas is holding up the bed size for the F1060.
This is the F1060 size.
That's correct.
Do a little bit of a stand up, I guess.
And the one I've got here is for the F2260. So you can see it's a big difference. All right, and even the decal that Lucas has on at the moment would fit onto that F1060 size print.
Yeah.
And this one for the bigger lads like me, for the big units, we can do if I turn the right way, we can do a massive print on these as well. So you can get a bigger coverage for those bigger people too. The benefit of this as well, printing onto this sheet format as opposed to DTG, is that we don't need to load individual shirts to do small pocket prints, for example. All right, so if we had to do 30 small pocket prints, we'd have to load 30 shirts individually, pre-treating them first, obviously. DTF, we don't need pre-treatment. All right, so we'd load those 30 shirts individually, but with a sheet, we can print the 30 decals on one sheet and then cut it up and just heat apply them. So it saves a lot of time in your production as well.
I think that's really important because a lot of people don't understand that you can actually print onto DTF and you can actually leave it.
Yeah, my word, my word. Yeah,
so if you've got a run of certain logos that you need to print for a particular business, but you print a whole sheet of, say, 50 of those, and you only use 10, you can store that away, and then you can use them again when you have another job from that particular customer.
It comes really in handy with, for example, schools. You know that you do a lot of work for schools.
Yeah.
So if you've got to do 20 shirts, for example, to start off with, but you know you might get an order down the track as well, you might as well print up a couple of sheets of them. Takes you no time. Store them next time. You don't even need to turn your printer on. Just pull your prints out and apply them.
Just a quick question. The difference between DTF and white toner laser.
Okay, yeah,
in the chat there,
there is a big difference. The main difference is you're using an inkjet printer.
Yeah.
All right, and you're only printing down the area that you need to transfer across. You do that with the toner as well. But with the toner system, we need to heat press across a glue, all right, which can become cumbersome. It needs to be an exact temperature. It takes a longer time to do as well, all right, and then we need to weed it and go through an extra step. Okay, but with the DTF process, it's just that single step of print, powder, and apply. So it's just a quicker process, and you get a more detailed print as well, a lot easier.
Another great question there from Kim, and we really should have answered this when we were speaking about storage. How long can those DTF sheets be stored for after you...
We've had sheets here for about 12 months that we printed 12 months ago, and we still apply them now and they're perfect.
Yeah.
So as long as you store them in a cool, dry environment, okay, you put
environment is key, right?
Environment's always key, my word. So cool, dry, you don't want too much humidity, it will start to bond to the print. All right, put them inside a manila folder, for example, label them and store them away in your cupboard, and yeah, pull them out next time that you need them and apply them, they're fine.
Now we've got some accessories that go with the sheet-fed machines that are going to help you get the best results. The first is these blue non-stick pads.
So anyone that's doing sheet-fed at the moment with a DTG machine, you'll know all about having to secure your film down to the DTG printer. All right, sometimes people will use tape. If we don't do that, it will move around and cause imperfect prints, all right, or misalignment between your white and your color. So we've got this product, which is a sticky pad.
Yeah.
All right, and we just put this onto the platen instead of just laying your sheet onto it first. And what this does is bonds to your film. All right, won't let it move. It'll stay in perfect position. So we get perfect alignment every time. So these are available in that full 400 by 600 size. If you've got the smaller printer, we can actually cut these down as well to suit those smaller printers. That's a great product to have. I know the people that, or the people that I deal with that actually have them, rave about them. They work so well.
Yeah.
We always use them here when we're doing demos in the showroom too. So wouldn't live without them for the DTF process. So you'll find these online.
Cool. And just while we're moving, just need to do a shout out to Alison, because Alison's literally there working.
Yep. Creating shirts. While she's watching it.
She's got her branding in the background. She's got her Epson running, loving it, like working lunch break. Yeah, absolutely killing it, Alison. Yeah.
Well done.
Loving that. You keep at it. We won't interrupt you. So what are some of the other things that we're going to need for some sheet-fed DTF?
Okay, so in that sheet-fed process, as I mentioned, you need to print the ink down, obviously, and then apply the powder. Once that's down, we still need to cure that ink before we apply it, and also melt the powder to the ink so it bonds to it so it can be applied correctly. We started off using a heat press. So you do your print, apply your powder, put it underneath your heat press, let that hover over the top of it for around about 4 minutes sometimes.
The good old hover method.
That's exactly right. And then cure the ink, obviously, and set the powder to it. Now, the powers that be thought about an opportunity, obviously, to create something that would speed up that process. Okay, so they've created these DTF ovens, which are a fantastic piece of kit. Again, in a workflow, a work process, I wouldn't be without them. If you're taking up the time to use your heat press,
you're occupying your press, right?
That's exactly right. So you could be applying stuff with your press while you're curing your DTF prints as well. So to move away from that, really easy to use, really simple to use. So they are a draw method, okay? Digitally controlled temperature and time. All right, once they're on, we've got a start button, but all you have to do is pull out the drawer, put our print face down with the glue facing upwards into there and start the process. Now it'll count down, and I guarantee you know when these things end. They've got a nice buzzer on them. You'll hear them from anywhere in your studio or in your home or in your factory to make sure that you know it when it's finished. And then it's just a matter of pulling it out, and that is then ready to heat press, if I can get my hands on it, to heat press to your product.
Yeah.
So it's a great time saver.
And available in 2 sizes as well.
My word.
We do have the smaller size, which is A3.
A3 size, my word, exactly right. So, and this large one, which will take 400 by 500, or this one will take 2 A3 sheets as well.
Yeah.
All right, so.
So you'll be doing 2 prints at the same time.
My word, exactly. And then, once they're cured, we'll talk about a heat press.
Yeah, let's go on to the heat presses and tunnel dryers.
And tunnel dryers, exactly right. What I might talk about first is the tunnel dryer, because that's in the same vein as what your DTF oven is. All that does is, as you can see on the screen there, it has a Teflon-coated belt system, and it moves through a tunnel section, which cures your powder and your ink. So all you have to do is lay it on that moving conveyor. The moving conveyor will go through the machine, cure it, pop out the other end. Okay, so that just, again, saves a little bit of time from manhandling the DTF oven, where you have to manually put it in, manually pull it out. It'll just move through that tunnel dryer and cure them for you, and they'll be stacked up at the end, ready to go, and you're finished.
Awesome.
And the next one, the heat presses. This is one of our new range at GJS. All right, this is the GTEX range. Now, we've got a fair few presses in this range too, and talking about automation moving forward too, this is just our single manual press. All right, but there are bigger and more automated options in the GTX range as well. If you jump onto our website, you'll be able to see them on there. So again, these are a high quality heat press as well. Okay, now if you jump on there, you might see a double sliding option. It has a digital control. The double sliding option is a compressor run or a pneumatic heat press where it will automatically close and open for you. Well, this one's a more manual style, all right, but we do have those auto styles as well. And the benefits of the dual press, which can also be fitted with lasers for alignment. Okay, the benefit to that is you can be loading and setting up a shirt while the other side's pressing. Once that's finished, we manually move it across to the other side, and then we'll heat press the second side while we unload and reload the first side. So have it, like I said, jump online, have a look. We've got that full range of GTX heat presses on there for you to go through. And if you've got any questions, reach out to your local GJS sales engineer, and they can help advise you what would be the best for your work process as well. Okay, now we're going to move across from those auxiliary machines for your sheet-fed machines. Now, what we didn't mention was also, for those of you out there, we did mention the Epson machines, sheet-fed machines. Now, obviously, we've been working with the Brother sheet-fed machines as well, the GTXpro. We've got Michael on board with us now too, and we're going to run through the Brother GTX. And this is the newer version of it, Mick.
Yes, that's right. So Brother have been around for a long time in the direct-to-garment market. And what we have now is stepping away from sheet-fed into something that is aligned with the more production style of printer. So this is based on the GTX Pro, and it has a roll system that is, well, they're sold new like this. It's not something that can be retrofitted to an existing printer
at the moment. Yeah.
At the moment, but basically it's fitted and replaces where the platen was. Now with that, you get increased speed up to almost 4 square meters an hour. So that's a big step up from the sheet fed, isn't it?
Yeah, my word.
Yeah. And it uses the same system, and so the GTX Pro Bulk is known around the traps as one of the most economical DTG printers. So as a DTF printer, it's a very economical way to set up a roll-fed machine.
Yeah, and we haven't got this one hooked up to a shake and bake at the moment,
yeah,
a powder and curing machine.
Yeah.
Can it be, Mick?
It can be, yes, it can. Yes, it can be hooked up, so it can be a complete system. Now, it does have, if you do have an existing model, a sheet-fed model, a GTX Pro bulk or pouch model, there is a new firmware out, and that new firmware allows you to print in a new method. And the new method uses variable dot sizes, which eliminates issues people used to have with a banding in cyan. Isn't that right, Ian?
That's right.
You've seen that?
Yep.
This eliminates this, and it also allows you to print on the way in. So the head configuration of CMYK and white is right. So rather than it going in, coming out, printing CMYK, then returning and printing the white, one stroke in, out, and the job's done. So it increases speed, as well as giving it a nicer finish with that variable dot size.
Yep.
So it's quite a big step up. So there's some good things happening with Brother at the moment. So it's about to start printing here. We'll see the
and you can expect
CMYK and white process happening.
Yep, and that head configuration, exactly right. It can print down the colour first and then print the white over the top.
Yeah.
With the existing sheet-fed machines too, if you've got one or you've seen some print results off it, you're going to get exactly the same result off this roll-fed machine as well.
Yeah. The only difference being that now, with this new roll-fed system, there's a high-speed mode. They're 65% faster than a sheet-fed machine to make having a roll-fed machine an advantage.
Yeah, if you like that GTX quality of print that you see direct to shirts, or you've been doing it on your DTF film, this is going to produce exactly the same. But just in that roll-fed, it's only the actual roll that's attached to it. Everything else is exactly the same, isn't it?
Exactly the same, yeah. And that new firmware allows for that high-speed mode, which is only available on the roll-fed machine. Yeah,
so all we do basically is take off the platen. Okay, so this it takes it away from being a DTG machine into solely a DTF machine. So we remove the platen, take that off there, and put this roll-fed system into the machine.
And so there is a new software. So most people that own Brothers will be familiar with Graphics Lab. You still use Graphics Lab to create files, but those files can be loaded to something called Film Mate, I think it's called.
Yes, yep.
And you load the files, and so you can load up to 50 or 100 files, send them to the device, and it will print them in sequence. And so it doesn't require labor standing there loading files.
Exactly.
And having a curing oven at the rear of the machine just means it will be operatorless.
Automates the process.
Yes, certainly does.
Yeah, for those of you doing sheet fed, you know it's a great process, but it is manual. You're always handling that sheet through the whole process. With this and hooking up the curing and powdering unit to the back of it, it automates that process, and it can re-roll off the back of it once it's printed.
Now, we are operating this machine with the lid up, which we highly don't recommend.
No, it's something
this is
you
just
can't
so
do.
that you guys at home get to see the system of the CMYK and white.
And the quality of the print.
Yeah.
Just that high quality brother machine. I love these GTX machines. They're awesome.
And that's just about done. Beautiful.
You see it easily covering that colour with the white as well.
Yes, yeah. There we go. So there are a few little changes to the machine, especially when it comes to the controller here. What used to send the platen in and out now feeds the roll, and what used to be the head cleaning system no longer cleans the heads. You have to use the menu to do that. That step feeds it. So you can step feed the material through to make sure that it's square and straight to the print head.
And that's that print finished. So a print that size, which is what we've got on our shirts, it's about a minute and a half. That's all we're standing here for.
It's actually larger than the one we have on our shirt.
It's bigger,
printed there, much larger, I fit it to the size of the platen or the size of the roll.
So again, it's just in that brother platform, that renowned brother reliable platform.
No, this is using. Yes. So we've got a question here. Are the inks the same as or have they been modified to use this new roll-fed system? No, we're using exactly the same inks that Brother used, whether it be because this can be configured to a pouch or a bulk model, so it's using exactly the same inks.
It can go on both.
The film, how wide is the film, someone's asked? It's 400 mil. So we've cut down one of our rolls to fit the machine. And that's a 100-metre roll. So it can hold the weight.
Do plenty of prints on 100 metres, that's for sure. Any more questions?
Yes, he's asking, Shabu is asking, do I need a minimum 20K or is there a cheaper, smaller printer? Well, there is.
There is exactly right. The Epson smaller, we weren't really going to talk about prices today, but we can let you know that the smallest entry-level machine that you can consider is the Epson F1060. So it's that smaller print size, like you saw the sheet being held up before, but that's well under that $20,000 investment.
It's half of that. It's under 10K.
That's exactly right. And all you need to pair with it is your oven and a heat press, and you've got a DTF system. Even with that smaller machine, you can always print larger images anyway.
That's right. You can break it into two, can't you?
That's exactly right. If you've got a pictorial image and some text, you can print those on two different sheets and then apply both of those sheets to the shirt and heat press them on, which is going to make it even bigger. All right, so now we've got something really special for you. We're going to attempt a live feed here, a live stream. We're going to cross over for you guys to see something really special that no one else has seen before. Okay, now this is going to Epson headquarters, where we've got Ryan Warby on standby, and he's going to show us their brand new, will be shown for the first time at PacPrint, which hasn't been held yet, obviously, so you're going to see it first here. The G6060.
Their DTF print.
Across to Ryan.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, a few little bugs there, but yeah. Welcome to the Epson Experience Centre at Yennora. So here we have we showcase quite a lot of equipment here, but we're not here to see all that. We're here to see the brand new Epson G6060. So as the boys just mentioned, this is the first sort of exclusive look at this machine. We currently have it running here in the background. We'll get a bit more of a spotlight on the machine for you. So as you're sort of aware and mentioned, the background to DTG Epson, we've been in DTG even before we were in DTG, meaning there were remanufactured machines. There's all sorts of stuff out there using our thin film piezo print head. And that's what's key with all our products is that print head. So a lot of people are attracted to that. So we obviously saw the opportunity there and created a very good range of DTG or direct-to-garment type printers. So that would allow us to print basically direct-to-garment, as the name suggests. Now, so we cover through that space is anything from your A4, as the boys just mentioned, the little F1060. We've got other machines right up to the F3000, which is our full-on production DTG machine. All right. Now, and why we're here, while we're talking, is of course this big shift from that DTG space right across the DTF. So we've seen that shift, and then we've come to the party on that. We've answered that with this solution. Now, obviously, same as what I mentioned before with those other machines, the DTG, the remanufactured machines. We've seen the same thing with DTF. We've seen things that have been hobbled together, but now we're actually seeing things that are manufactured by the OEM. Okay. So, all right. So our reply to that was the Epson G6060. Now, one thing with that machine being covered by us from Epson Australia is that is actually covered by a full cover plus. What's a cover plus? That means the machine itself is covered by a full 5 years parts and labour warranty, really. You can buy it in different stages. You can get 1 year, you can get 3 year, but to get 5 years full coverage on a machine like this is pretty unheard of. Okay. So one thing I do have right next to me here is this sample. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of DTF type prints, but here's one. Not really too sure how much I've got that into the screen. But this is 800mm wide, a full 800mm width on GGS film. Okay, 1.2 meters long. So quick math tells me that that's 1 meter square. It took 7 minutes to print this, so 7 minutes, and we've got about 30 mils of ink. Bit of a fun fact, 27 of those mils is actually white ink and the rest is color. So obviously we throw down quite a bit of white ink to get the opacity and the density we need on this sort of print, which we can press to dark garments as well, and as we know. And cost-wise, what we also want to know is that's $6, basically $6. I know I'm using round numbers here. We have a fairly comprehensive accounting tool which goes through this product, which will tell us how much ink it's actually being used. Okay, so I'll pop that back down on the table here. And obviously to chat to GGS around bundles of these machines in terms of what you're getting. But for 5 years coverage, you're looking at about 30K for something like this machine, which is a bargain. If you calculate over the 5 year period, break it down as an ROI per unit. I think I worked this out. I think there's 96 little stickers on here or transfers. And so that works out, I think it was about 10 cents each or something like that, a little bit less. All right, so what's in the box? So with this machine, you pretty much get everything from the printer side. One thing with Epson we do really well is printers. Obviously, we put ink on paper across the board. And then there's, as I mentioned, GGS can give you bundles with these shaker units. I've just got this one here as an example, if you like, of the full flow process. Okay. So also too, we comes with obviously the inks and the maintenance and all that sort of jazz. But I'll let the boys from GGS bore you with that. So other things that the machine does come with, which is quite exciting, is our back-end stuff, our software, all right? So we actually bundle this. Included in the machine is our Epson Edge Print software. Now, this is basically our RIP software, which runs across, again, all our LFP machines. Some of you in this may be familiar with Garment Creator, which runs our F-Series DTG machines, the 2260s, the 1060s, and the 3000s. This is different. Because we're going roll-to-roll, we're going production, we've moved this across to our Epson Edge Print software, which is our RIP software, which is used for our roll-to-roll production machines. One big advantage with that is Epson's color management system. So we can actually color manage our workflow. Obviously, there's a few here's and there's with that and so forth, and I'm sure the GGS boys will work that out with you. But basically, we can print. We've got this little mad little device here. This is called an SD10. It's a Spectro, which is a color management device. So it's another whole presentation for this. I won't bore you too much, but this basically can scan color. All right. So I can now print my print, goes through the whole process. It comes out at the end of the shaker onto this. Then I physically press that to a shirt because, as we know, what comes off that press onto the shirt, the colors can be slightly different. Once we're pressed, we can do a scan of that color and then check for color accuracy, whether it be a corporate color, or we can send through color patches, correct ICC color profiles, if people in the meeting are familiar with how that works. But basically, we can color manage our workflow with a full OEM solution from hardware, software, and so forth. Okay, so that's quite exciting. All right, what I might do is I might pick up and hopefully we can switch across. I've got a second camera angle here, if you like, so I can give you guys a little bit more of a view of the product. Hopefully that's coming through for you now. Oops, no, it's not. That's probably better. I have to turn the camera on. Oh, you don't want to look at my ugly face. Let me turn that around. Just let me change that around. Nope, not going to let me do it, so I'll just turn the phone around. All right, so here's the printer. As you can see, standard sort of LFP type machine. But there's a few things here which will be an advantage in this sort of space. What I mean by that is we've got a fairly large LCD screen here, which gives us a very comprehensive display of what's happening on the machine. Not only do it give us ink levels, it gives us how long the print's got to go, so we know timing-wise how long we've got to go. But it also too gives us other information, what pass rate I'm using. It actually even gives me my temperature and humidity in the room as well. So that is extremely important, as you guys know, if you're experienced with this. So also too, we're running GGS material, as I've mentioned before, and as you can see, this is a full width 800mm roll that I'm running through the machine at the moment. I can actually have multiple widths. I think it's down to about 500mm, something like that, maybe even less, but we'll check the specs on that. But you don't have to use this full width. You might already have a shape unit that's maybe, I don't know what the widths are, 300mm, whatever. You can buy this machine, put your 300mm in there or whatever it is, and then run it through your current equipment as well. So you've got those options too. Inside these drawers down the bottom here, we have our ink bladders or our ink pouches, okay? Now, they are a massive 1.6 litres each, and there are 6 colours in the machine, okay? And there are 6 colours in that machine. So we've got C, M, Y, K, and obviously the white, but quite interesting enough, we've also got the maintenance liquid. And that maintenance liquid there will obviously maintain the machine. So, and that's actually a big thing with us at Epson, whereas we want you guys burning ink, we want you guys printing prints, we want you guys making money. So we don't want you guys with screwdrivers in hand or swabs or sticks and all sorts of ridiculous stuff to play around with. So this has got an internal head wiper, which automatically wipes the print head for maintenance and servicing, and also too has a maintenance liquid, as I mentioned before. So this actually has a bunch of nozzles on the head. We've got a few spare ones. So what we do is we'll spit maintenance liquid through that head into the capping station and spit that to keep everything clean and fresh within the unit. And I guess now just panning back here, you can have a look at the full kind of setup. So hopefully, hopefully, as Lucas put it, I wasn't too Blair Witch Project on my camera work there. It was not too shaky, but yeah, you can see there that's the full overview. So obviously, there's a lot more. Put that camera down now, so it'll probably darken out. So obviously, there is a lot more to discuss with this machine. I've really given you guys a very quick overview. We will have this on display at PacPrint coming up in Sydney, so you can come down and have a look at the machine and interrogate us on the stand with all your questions. But in saying that, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that may come from the audience here. So yeah, hopefully that's been informative.
I think I'm back now. Okay, there we go. So thanks, Ryan. You're an absolute natural, mate. That was great, mate. Great to see that your new beast that you've got in there too, mate, the G6060. Great looking machine, mate. Looking forward to seeing it in person at PacPrint. Anyone at PacPrint that sees Ryan as well and would like to look at it, then come across and have a chat with us and we can talk you through more details as well. Give you a quote on it. We'll settle a few for you, Ryan.
No worries, most definitely. Any other questions from the crowd at all?
All good for now? Looks all good, mate. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Excellent. Great webcast. I really appreciate your support. And yeah, very well done, boys. And all the best. See you at the show.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're going to switch back across to the GJS studio.
And I believe we got some questions.
I was going to bring up a couple of questions. We might as well run through those, I think, like you said, Mick, before we move forward.
Yeah, we'll knock those over.
Just getting those up on the screen. You might notice that we're standing in front of a new machine too. We'll talk about that in a sec. Okay.
Yes, there is a firmware update on the GTX, and it's not available in Australia. You'll have to contact one of our support team to get a copy of that, unfortunately.
Exactly right. But yeah, get in contact, send an email to help at
GJS.co.
Exactly.
We'll provide it.
Yep.
Do we provide training?
Yeah, complete
undoubtedly
setups.
we do.
Yeah, and training, my word. Yeah.
That's on site. So if you're purchasing a DTF printer, any form, any size, it's delivered to you, and one of our techs or
ourselves,
ourselves or myself will come there and provide the training on site.
Exactly right. We don't leave you until you're competently printing perfect prints yourself. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we pride ourselves, is on that support side of things.
You bet. With
our large support team and our training. And it doesn't stop once we leave as well. We're not just box shifters. There's a few out there. We like to make sure that your business is successful.
And it helps us build a relationship with you so that you feel confident and comfortable calling us if you have a problem.
Spot on, spot on. Can I print using either my Oki white
or my Sawgrass sublimation printer?
Yeah, or my Sawgrass.
It is a good question, but unfortunately for DTF, none of those three printers would be compatible.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are some methods out there that claim to be sort of DTF on those different machines, but they're not. They're just not DTF. They're just sideways engineered, different types of printers, which will cause you heaps of hassles. The best thing if you want to do DTF is get a dedicated machine. Any more questions on there?
Yeah.
I was looking to upgrade ASAP. Would love to know which printer has better colours, the TY-300 or the new Epson. Okay, we still haven't finished showing you all of our printers yet.
Yes.
All right, so we've still got a few more to come.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about colour a little bit later on. Okay, you're going to get great colour out of all of the machines.
You
really.
are, yeah.
Okay, but there are some advantages to different machines as well, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, where we can add extra colours.
Yes.
But we'll go through that when we go through the actual printers.
Yes, so let's talk about the new Roland TY-300. Ian?
Yeah, so it's a OEM solution from start to finish. Any of you who have used Roland printers out there, you know the Roland brand, you know how good they are. They've now released the TY-300 paired with a powdering and curing unit as well. The TY-300, we've been privileged enough to be able to use it for a little while now, Mick.
We have, yeah.
And mate, I really enjoy using it. It's really simple to use. You get the same great quality results that we get out of the Roland printers and what they're known for, but in that DTF format.
Yeah, yep. And with a maximum resolution of 1200 by 1200, it can produce photographic quality DTF transfers.
Exactly.
But it can also run in a high-speed mode. It has a very simple and effective loading system on their curing oven, where it has a vacuum roller rather than a vacuum system inside. So rather than having to load, there we go, sorry. Rather than having to load a couple of meters of media, which is a cost to you and your business, you just load approximately 400 mil and you can get the media onto this vacuum roller and start the system, which is very cost effective.
Yeah, it speeds up the process, and saves you a lot of media as well.
Yeah, yes. So now we're just going to make a little bit of noise.
Exactly, we'll get up and running. So the printer itself, two-head machine. It's got a head for CMYK, obviously a channel for each, and it's got a dedicated head for your white inks. Okay, so we've got one full head of 4 channels using white ink coming out of it. So very good speed, very high speed printer. And like I said, you get that same quality that you get out of all of your Roland printers. Now we are going to make a little bit of noise now, as these machines do, but it's all part of the process. We've got this loaded up, ready to basically start
printing. Ready to run, yes.
Another big thing about it, if we can have a look inside here, just for a second, is that the powdering unit has dams on the side. Okay,
So you can
those
see down
dams,
here, there's a dam on each side, which prevents the adhesive powder from dropping off the duck in the roll.
exactly. So what it does, it allows the print run to be longer. Most of the powdering and curing units don't have this, and it just constantly feeds powder, which means you've constantly got to top up
Constantly have to recycle it from the bottom.
You've got to recycle it all the time.
That's right.
With those dams, it holds it in place so you can do longer print runs.
Yes. Now it's coupled with the new VersaWorks 7, which is their new RIP software. It has a few features that make it, a lot easier to use than the older system. Whereas if you had your system connected to 3 or 4 printers, your queues were stacked. Your printers were stacked in the queues column, which means to see different print jobs in different queues, you had to manipulate them up and down, which anyone with a Roland would know. But with this new system, they're now tabs across the top. So if I had a second printer, it would sit here and I could click on that and the jobs from that printer would be in a queue here. You still have the same system where you can add 5 queues along the top for each printer, but it also gives you this sort of information which wasn't available before. So it's, it's a very good system. So it has the ability to, look, it works with PDF and EPS files, but it has the ability, if you don't have the white channel in the artwork, which we do have in this case, to add that white channel. But it's still, I think, a better option if you do adding the white channel in Illustrator or Corel Draw. Okay, so this is just doing a clean, but once the clean is finished, we'll see the print speed. Now this is in production mode. There are if I click here, there are 3 modes. There's production mode, high quality and high speed. So in the highest quality mode, it's 1200 by 1200 DPI, which is almost photographic. And this is where you can add your spot color, so it will generate that color plate for the white layer if one isn't already added. But you can see here that it's definitely been added. You can see the white there. Okay, so maintenance should be finished. Now it uses a cold peel film. The tests that they've done over at Roland have proven that the cold peel film works best with their ink. And we've seen that with other printers. We know that with the Brother GTXpro, the cold peel delivers a better result than the hot peel. And on the Epsons, the hot peel delivers a better result than the cold peel. So it's basically linked to the ink. So if you have a look here, you can see it now in production mode. Unfortunately, I don't have it illuminated in there, but you can definitely see the CMYK in white being placed on the top. So there is I don't know if Connor can get in here, but there's a heater here at the front, which is taking the moisture out of the white ink so that when it goes through the adhesive, it only applies enough just to bond it to the shirt. Having too much adhesive can make the print stiff and hard on the shirt, so it won't have as nice a hand. And it will also remove the elasticity, having too much. So definitely makes a difference having that. So that job's finished. When it's finished, I'll just feed a bit through. And if you have a look up here, you can see that it has heaters below the film and above the film. Now these are halogen. Halogen are very effective, very fast to heat up. So it makes it you don't have to have the machine on for a period of 20 minutes, warming it up prior to printing.
Yeah, it's a really well made unit too.
Yes, it is, yeah.
It's got the cool down function on the output as well, and obviously a re-roll on the end too. So once you're printing in that roll-to-roll format, that's it. You're going to move through and re-roll it, no problems at all.
Now, if you set this up for production and you're monitoring that through cameras in your factory. On the side here, there's an illuminated area. If there's an issue with the printer or the take-up unit on this, or the whole unit, in fact, this will turn red and give you a warning that something's wrong, so you can have one of your staff members check it out. So we'll pull that down. I'll just feed a little bit through. Oh, no need to, really. So we're finished there, are we?
Yeah, we'll finish off on that one. So this is your TY-300 Roland setup. Fantastic machine. I know we've got a couple of questions from some people as well. So we'll just move across and answer those questions for you.
All right.
So we'll just bring those up, give us a couple of secs, and we'll work through the questions for you.
Nope. I can't see them from here.
So the one question was about how much film you're wasting, can you reuse it? Okay, now you need to be conscious of that and get the questions up for us. And you do need to be conscious of it. So there are methods and ways to actually make sure that you don't waste too much film. Once it's gone through the powdering and the curing system, I wouldn't advise to try and use it again. It's probably not the best thing you can do. You're best having fresh film going through there.
No, definitely warps during the heating process and the curing.
Cause head strikes and things like that. It's not the best way to do it. No, exactly right. So you are best off just to be careful. Yeah. And when you do, it's easy to do. You don't waste much film at all. You know, half a metre to a metre.
On that note, a lot of people are a little bit concerned about plastics, but there is a paper DTF film
that's on its way.
That's on its way, yeah. Something we've been doing some research on.
We have just started testing that. It's actually looking pretty good too.
Yes.
So just need some more confirmation on that, and we'll have more news on a paper version too. Exactly right.
In the future.
Now, people were mentioning colours. How do the colours on the Epson versus the TY look? Yeah, Ben, you're going to be very closely compared.
Yeah.
They're both high quality OEM solution printers, and you're going to get good colour out of both of them. They're both formatted as a DTF machine.
They are.
They're profiled for that system, so you're going to get good colours out of them. Just like you are out of the Brother.
I think if you take three of any brand, if you take a Muto, a Mamaki, and a Roland printer and print the same artwork, they're each using a different rip, you're going to get slightly different results. And I think you're going to see that with the TY or the G6060.
Yeah, if you're looking to get consistent colours across the board, I wouldn't have two different machines anyway.
No.
You're going to get two of the same machine if you need more production.
You bet.
You know, so you're going to get the same colours out of both, and that's guaranteed through the RIP software, through Edge Print, for example, through VersaWorks for the Roland, and also through the next one that we're about to talk about just behind us here, Mick.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
All righty.
So now
we're going to talk about.
This is the start of the next few machines we're going to show you is basically showing you how to automate this whole process.
The whole process, that's
all right. So this is everything from printing to actually applying and even finishing the product as well.
Yeah.
So it's a full DTF system from start to finish. All right. And we're going to be focusing on that automation through those systems as well. So here we've got the Coltex. It's the D604 Plus. All right, so this is all from GJS, and this is our full system. Now, Mick, I know it took us a while to get to actually have this machine. Why did we go here, and how long did it take?
Okay, so short story, about 24 months ago, we ordered the first unit in, and that was for our own internal testing. We do our due diligence and make sure that something we're going to sell is going to be something that you're going to love and not something you're going to complain about. So a lot of testing. We found the software was not to our liking, a little bit difficult. You had to add the alpha channels, where with the software that we now have integrated into this system, which is from CADlink, Digital Factory, it's fully automated, it adds all of that. And we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, that was some long, hard work for you or Greg too to go through that.
We spent about 100 hours profiling this.
Exactly.
And one of the, if I just duck out of screen here, one of the reasons was we wanted to create something that produced accurate colour. Now, if you have a look at that Epson tone print there, it's their demo graphic for colour testing different printers. I'll hold it out, Look at the black and whites and the gradients in that.
Yeah, look at the tones.
That's photographic.
Through that watch. Yeah. All your colours, even the skin tone in that is fantastic, mate.
Yeah.
All your photographic quality images are absolutely perfect.
Now that's what 100 hours of profiling gives you, and a huge investment in profiling equipment.
To make sure that it was perfect for the customers.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
100%. Now, we asked about colour before. So on this machine, you've got a couple of different options, Mick.
That's right.
We can get it in a dual CMYK
dual
or
CMYK.
a 9-colour option.
Yes, that's right. And with this option that we've got set up here today, you have orange and green, which you can see in these prints, which are
the ones that we're all wearing
yesterday from this exact printer.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
You see the nice greens, bright, vibrant oranges as well.
Yeah.
All benefit to that.
Yeah, that's right. So an increased colour gamut, but also has 2 fluoro colours. And with those 2 fluoro colours, we can create 3. So we have pink, or they call it magenta. We're going to call it pink, yellow, and there's an orange, which is a combination of the 2. Now we do have we don't have it yet. Oh, at the end. At the end we'll do that. Sorry about that. We will show you those fluoro colours on some garments after we talk a little bit more about this.
So another good thing with the ink system too, Mick, is the bottles at the back. The white bottle has the agitation system in it.
It does, yes.
All right, you'll notice that it's in a circular or a round bottle as well. All right, and that round bottle is for a reason. All right, so the agitation system that's in there, if it was in a square bottle, it doesn't agitate it properly.
No, and you'll get lumps in the corner and builds up.
With this machine, you've got that circular bottle, so that circulation system makes sure that it doesn't coagulate anywhere in that bottle.
Yes, and the good thing about this is during a holiday break or Christmas holidays or even long weekends when the printer is put into storage mode, which is another advantage to this machine.
Exactly.
Over a lot of the other machines, this can be put into storage mode.
Very easily.
The circulation device continues to operate. So the printer can be off for 6 weeks. You can come back, you've got fresh circulated ink right down to the head. So it doesn't just circulate it in the bottle, it circulates all the lines. So there's an in and an out, and it circulates it right down to the dampers. Right
through the whole ink system. It's crazy. It's really good too, and it keeps it in great. We've tried our hardest to beat this system, and we just can't do it, mate.
No.
We've treated it really badly.
In the back of a shaky truck.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Off for a day both ways.
Yeah.
And then just plug it in and turn it back on, and she works beautifully.
Yeah.
Another good thing about the inks too is being in this bulk ink system, it's really cost effective.
That's right.
All right, so
we're talking $100 for CMYK and about $140 for the white fluoros and the orange and green.
Yeah, exactly right.
And that's economical in anyone's language.
Yeah, very low. That's exactly right. And your cost per print's, very, very low on it.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the powder and shaker unit.
Yes.
All right, so again, on this unit, we have the powder system with the dams on it.
Yeah.
Okay, now these are spring-loaded dams on this one, so it definitely holds it nice and close and tight. All right, so again, we only need to put a certain amount of powder in there. It doesn't split the sides, so we can do nice long runs without us even being here, Mick.
That's right, yep. I set up about 30 metres yesterday. I put about a kilo in there and just set it, went up, did emails and other work that I had to do. And when I come back in about an hour and a half's time, it was still going, no problem at all. And it adds a little bit as it's needed. So it bases it on the weight at the bottom and adds a bit if it notices the weight's gone down.
That's right. It's got sensors in the bottom, which if it does need a powder top up, it'll actually do it.
Yeah. But
that's the best thing about it. So it's going to do a real long run for you nice and easily. Now, we'll have a look inside as well. This has got the same 7 elements, top and bottom, as the Roland option does. Now, we're going to turn this on as well. We're going to fire it up. Also, as you can see, media's fed through. It's got that Teflon coated belt on here, which is perfect. It's got your cooling fan on the way out and also your re-roll function. So it's a true roll-to-roll machine. Roll on the back of the printer, all the way through the system, re-rolls on the front, nice and handily to take off and move to our next system when we need to.
Yes.
So again,
now it has a brilliant and large and easy to control touch screen, which is probably one of the best features of this. We can change the temperatures very easily. It has an auto function, so when the printer stops, the media stops. This is to shake the adhesive off the film so that there's only adhesive where the ink is. And we have a preheater here which takes some of the moisture out of the ink so we don't get too much adhesive again, so that we have that soft hand feel and the nice flexibility that DTF is known for, isn't it right, Ian?
Spot on.
Yeah, so we'll send a job we'll get something printing.
While Mick's getting that set up to print, another really good feature of the powdering and curing unit, it's got an internal air purification system. So for those of you who may have seen other units have hoses running off them, external smoke filters and things like that, this one's all built in, all right? So it's really compact. There's no extra cords running off it that you need to worry about. And also the printer, Mick, you're seeing you using that PC up there, mate. The printer includes a PC as well, doesn't it?
It does, yes. So it comes with this exact PC. And it's not an inexpensive PC. We've made sure that we provide something that we know is not going to let you down in years to come. So this is a i7, nice big monitor, easy to operate. So this is the Printex, or the software that we use to communicate with the printer. But most of the setup for this device is done in Digital Factory, which we'll look at in a little minute. So we can see now with the 3-head version that we're looking at now, it puts CMYK down, then the orange and green or fluoro head does its work, and it finishes with the white. So that's around, it actually tells you, if I bring that up, currently it's printing around 17.2 linear meters an hour. That's 9.8 square meters an hour. Okay, so we've got a question about the health requirements, or what sort of PPE you might use when thinking about working with the adhesive. And we're not talking about the fumes, we're talking about handling the adhesive itself. And that's why a closed-in system like you're seeing here, or with the TY, or what you might have on the back of the GTXpro Roll-to-Roll system, is a must. If that's something you're concerned about, and you don't want to have to wear dust masks and goggles to protect yourself, which is something we will always advise, this system takes that out of the process. It's all handled by the machine. Like the fumes are handled by the filter, and you're not handling the powder. The powder is added in an enclosed system. So it's a very good system, and it's definitely the way to go if that's something you're concerned about. There we go. All right, so like I said, that's working at 8.9 square meters an hour. And this is high quality mode on the 8-color system, high speed mode on the 4-color system, and we're talking anywhere up to 24 square meters an hour. Now that's pumping, Ian. You're certainly pumping. So you definitely have to run the preheater, and I think we'll be talking about 37 linear meters an hour. So a 100-meter roll will be done in 3 hours. So that's really high production mode. All righty, so that's finished printing. So we'll quieten things down a little bit. We can cure all that after. Actually, what we'll do, we'll just turn that off so that we can hear ourselves speak. Okay, so now we'll look at the software that we're using. So this is Digital Factory DTF Edition. And I've got Greg here, who's a bit of an expert on this software, and he'll talk you through some of the features. So firstly, we'll start off by adding some artwork. I'm going to add these ones. And these are just PNGs. They have no white panel, no white layer. We've got no alpha channels added. This is just artwork being dragged into the software, and the software will manage all that for us.
Yeah, Michael, like we were saying earlier, is that we spend so much time putting together our own GJS solution, and it came down to ease of use. And we wanted something to work with Digital Factory because it's just so simple to use. And so, for example, like you just drop those artwork in there. You can also set up presets so you can auto nest. And so in this job example, we have all completely different pieces of artwork, and to maximize the utilization of this media, the auto nesting feature allows us to specify spacing between them and can auto rotate. So that maximizes the media utilization. And the other thing we love about Digital Factory is that if your customer has given you some artwork which isn't quite perfect, instead of having to edit it in Photoshop or Illustrator, for example, and see we have the media set here by default as a gray, and so we can see where there is black. And so in this graphic up here, for example, this is a real life example from one of our customers. They wanted this sampled on this machine. And so in Digital Factory, what we can do is click on it and go into production plugins and knock me black out. And so in this example, you can actually see there's black in there, but if this was going onto a black t-shirt, we don't want to print white behind that and also print black on top of that white, because you won't get that true black garment color come through. And so we love this this feature, and so always just click over to red mask, and so you can see the red mask here is that showing where the white layer is going to go. And so what we can do, we can actually just in just a few button clicks we can find, oh, there we go, just like that, and it has removed that slightly off black color through here. And just by clicking OK, within a few seconds it will knock that black out, and we'll be able to see the gray through there. And so yeah, like in the example we gave, printing that onto a black shirt, you're going to see the black through that rather than using ink for that. So it provides a softer hand as well. And so the other thing you can do is for step and repeat work. And so if we click on here, it's really simple of just adding copies of this one. And so you can add, if you click it once, you add one copy, but if you scroll down here further, you can specify how many rows or columns you wanted to do a gang sheet of, for example. Otherwise, you can just specify the number, the spacing between each, and you click 8, and just like that. And again, if we just can auto nest, it really makes it printing with DTF so simple, especially when it comes to that white layer. You don't have to think about it like other solutions where you don't have to open up the artwork in Photoshop and create an alpha channel like some solutions require. Just makes life so much easier, especially all the color costings as well. So in a click of a button, you can get accurate costings of how much this would cost you cost to print before you even print it to the device. So that's a quick overview of Digital Factory and why we love it.
Thank you, Rick, for your insight on the amazing software that we've taken up with our Coltex. So the next part of the process is obviously is the cutting of the transfers. Most people will be doing that with a pair of these. Now, this is a system that will work. It keeps you start with if that's the way you're inclined. But if you have a transfer like this, and you're trying to put that straight on the shirt, maybe you can work off one side if it's not in the middle of the film when you're cutting it up. But it's very difficult to put that straight onto a garment. So having something like the Secabo here, which will cut perfect squares, aligned to your artwork based on how it's coming from Digital Factory, means that every transfer will be straight. Human eye naturally sees a straight line, so try and transfer that square on the sheet's not going to happen. So the way we do it is using a machine like the Secabo. Now this system is integrated with Digital Factory. So Digital Factory adds the cut lines for us automatically. It's not something we have to do. It adds QR codes and registration points, and that links the job from that software to a job that is now in here. And the connectivity, by the way, can be Wi-Fi, so it can be connected on the network, or it can be Wi-Fi or direct with USB. Now it does have a very simple to use touch screen, as all the devices seem to have nowadays. This has the cut force. Now cut force might seem like it needs to be very high, but at the moment we're cutting film, and film isn't difficult to cut. But this machine can also be integrated into your workflow if you're using it with a Roland printed cut machine, but you want to die cut the decal rather than twist cut. So that makes this system multi-use. So it's not only going to cut film, but cut transfer, stickers, decals, and so forth, giving them a nicer feel rather than using the burp cut, which we know destroys our cutting protection. So we've got our force around 178, and I mean this is an old blade that's in the system at the moment. Initially it starts around 120. The speed, I haven't got it really fast, it goes up to 700 millimeters per second. We've got it set to 420. When you see this operate, you'll see that's more than enough speed. So I'll just show you how it works. So we need to read this QR code here. Now this device has an illuminated camera, so it will light up the area it needs to see. I'll just put the camera over that QR code. So if you have a bit on, you can see this on the screen. This is the QR code. If you go back over there, I'll start a dot, it will scan the QR code. And it will vacuum on the whole meter. Now the meter is purposely slightly crooked to show you how it calculates the cut area based on those registrations. If you're applying these by hand on a heat press, it's going to be easy to get them square. It'll be difficult to get them crooked. So, the reason we have more cut the same size is we're now going to move to a piece of equipment which is the ROQ IMPRESS.
Come in. Yeah, so it is the first ROQ IMPRESS.
The very first in the country.
In Australia.
Yes.
And we are very, very excited to be premiering it at PacPrint. So if you haven't already, please do register, come and see it in person. It is a beast of a machine. It is already sold. We can't tell you who the lucky buyer is just yet, but it is already sold, but it will be on our stand. And it's just an amazing piece of equipment, isn't it?
Yeah, it was an enjoyment. I really enjoyed building it and getting it to this state. It wasn't, you know, difficult. I mean, these machines are engineered brilliantly. For someone that doesn't have an engineering background, can work it out. I mean, it just shows the quality of workmanship in the pre-build, so that we can put it together here.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this can press up to 500 shirts per hour. That's a 500.
That's right. Maybe not with me operating it. I'm not the best at loading, but we'll give it a really good shot here in a minute. We'll probably only do one round, but you were saying at PacPrint.
Yeah, so at PacPrint, you can see the timer behind us here. So twice a day at PacPrint, what we're going to do is we're going to run this machine as fast as we can, and we're going to try and get as close as we can to that 500 shirts per hour. So, you know, we're going to try and do it about 10 and 2 every day. So come down to the show, see us working our butts off, loading shirts on and off this machine. It's going to be epic. We're going to have a timer set, and yeah, we're going to try and get as close as we can to that maximum production capacity of this machine. So available in 2 different options.
That's right. Yes, yes. There's the larger version which we have here, and the advantage to this version with the 8 platens is that you can have a pre-press, which is prior to putting the transfer on, which removes moisture from the shirt, and that's really important with some form of transfers, but also can have a post-press. So after the transfer is removed, sometimes that can leave a shining gloss to the image, and with this post-press, it has PacPrint paper attached, and that pushes the transfer down into the garment and gives it that natural look like this garment we're at here now.
Yeah, yeah. And I can already see that Kaz has written want in chat. So
of course it does.
we'll just do up an invoice after this webinar, Kaz, and we'll shoot that right over to you, and you can have the next one that gets here to Australia, right?
Make some room, Kaz.
All right, so there's some attachments as well that we want to talk about that really kind of add to the automation that this machine can bring to your business. And the first one is the ROQ FEED. So we're going to just talk about how it places garments on the shirts. Yeah.
How it puts transfers on the shirts? Yes. So it's a system that has an X and Y calibration. We can set up exactly where on the t-shirt we want it. It has lasers to help you. So we put the garment on the platen.
Yeah.
We move it into the position, and then we use it has a handheld system that allows you to configure it. Once you've done that, so it's like a remote control for a toy car.
Yeah.
And you can set it up in exactly where it needs to go, and then once you've done that, it's set in the system, it's automated, and it's locked in.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, that's the feed.
Programmable job recipes as well. So if you've got regular customers, you can repeat the jobs. So you don't have to set it up every single time that you get a repeat job or anything like that.
But having said that, if you did, it's 2 minutes. I would say 1.5 to 2 minutes to set it up. It's not difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good system.
And the other module that we have attached to this one is the ROQ PEEL. So, if you really want to go that next step in your production workflow and you've got the ROQ FEED automatically placing your DTF transfers onto those garments for you, then the logical next step is to have a machine that then peels those DTF transfers from the garments and even puts them in the bin for you.
That's correct, yes, an amazing bit of kit. So this removes a staff member that would normally be standing there. So without that, you would need 3. You'd need a loader, an unloader, and someone to peel the transfer prior to the post-press.
Yeah. So are we going to run it up now?
Yeah.
I think we just skipped over the touch screen, because I think this is something that we just need to zoom in on here, because it's a really important part of the process.
Particular components just for the touch screen. We can configure the temperature, so we can set the temperature in each of the 6 zones. We set the temperature, the time, the 6 there, and the pressure. So I'll go back. To start this up, you're going to have to give us a bit of a go here. We're probably not going to be able to go flat out. But what happens now is, by hitting this, the shirt that I have on here, which I'm about to load, using the laser system, which helps you get it square, which is a really good system. So what happens now is, when I tell the device to start, it knows there's a shirt here. So this component, the first pre-press, will turn on, but none of the others will until this garment is under. So we'll start it up and go. So you can see only the press has gone down. And now you want to duck around and have a look at the feed.
So as Michael's loading that other shirt there, you can see the feed is automatically placing that DTF transfer onto the garment using the laser guided transfers there. So perfect positioning every time. Yep, and so it goes around.
So it's currently showing that we're doing just under 400 garments an hour, and I'm struggling.
And so coming around the other side of the machine, as we saw before, the feed is loading it on, and then when it gets around to the other side, you've got the ROQ peel, which is peeling that transfer off the garment and then placing it in the bin.
And now it's in a closing off configuration, so as the last shirt goes around, those components will stop or cease to function until it gets back to the unload station. There are 388 garments per hour. And this post-press element here has a roll of parchment paper on it, and you can update that paper every couple of hundred prints, and there's 100 metres on there, so simple as that. All right.
Yeah, so yeah, I think we've had a couple of just wows in the comments. So I just have to grab so how long were we going for there? Just shirts after shirts after shirts after shirts. So, you know, I have to take this opportunity to do a shout out to our partners Gildan, because they are going to be providing us the shirts for PacPrint, and as you can see, we are going to be going through
a lot of shirts.
A lot of shirts. So make sure you come down and check us out. See the demo of the machine, get some sample shirts, and see the ROQ and everything else in action. But what if we wanted to take it a step further? What if, and no offense, Ian, what if we wanted to get rid of you in the process, taking the shirts off the platens? What if there was a magical robot machine that could actually remove the shirts from the platen? Well, there is, and it is called the ROQ PULL. So it is, I think we have a video actually, so we might go to the video first. Now it doesn't have, I don't think it will play with any sound, so we'll probably just talk over this while this plays.
And the video we're watching is of a previous generation. There's actually a newer model than this that we saw a preview of, and it's brand new. We saw this yesterday. So you can see there the table is slowly lowering as it loads the shirts. It just means that this whole 500 shirt per hour, if you've got a good operator, unlike me, could be committed by one staff member. That's it.
Yeah, that's so pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So sorry, Ian, you might be out of a job.
Oh, well. Yeah. I don't think he's going to complain slightly. Yeah.
All right, so that is the ROQ PULL. So obviously once you guys have created your shirts and you've pressed them with the ROQ IMPRESS, you're going to need to pack them and you're going to need to sell them, send them out to your customers. So the next, and ROQ have a solution for that as well, and it's called the ROQ OUT, and it's an automated packaging and labeling solution. So it can do up to 350 garments per hour. So that's folding them, packing them, and applying the labels. And that's everything from t-shirts, sweats, polos, and other garments, depending on the recipe that you program into it. Yeah, and I guess that's really just kind of like the last bit of the process. And we have a video on that as well that we'll take you through now that shows you how the ROQ OUT works.
And there's no sound of it.
So as you can see, folding the shirt up there, taking it. I love this bit. I mean, I would love this just to fold my own laundry personally, you know, especially when you've got a toddler and you end up with 400 bits of dirty clothes every week. It's in the bag. There you've got your shipping label automatically applied to the bag, and then it will drop that out into a dispatch area where your shipping company can then pick it up and then dispatch that to your customers. So it's a really, really awesome piece of kit that really just completes the whole automation process and workflow from ROQ. yeah, it's a really, really amazing end-to-end system.
It's great to see what they're doing with automation too, because as you know, in Australia, it's...
Well, the cost of labour is...
The highest cost in your business is labour.
Yeah.
You know, so you can get a machine like this that's going to do 500 shirts an hour. Yeah, you can create that with four workers on it. But when you're adding all this automation, it makes it so much more economical to run. Yeah. Having automation on your machine.
Yeah, and a lot of print shops also, they run 2 shifts, so they have like a morning shift and an afternoon shift. So, you know, obviously these machines never sleep. So, you know, you really can increase your workflow if you have that capacity for that. And it's really great to see that, you know, we have one of these machines already pre-sold. So it just really shows that there is an appetite here in Australia for this level of automation, and that there is a demand for the quantities of garments and digitally decorated products that these machines can produce.
Yeah, exactly right, spot on. And they're a really well-made machine too, like was mentioned earlier. The ROQ brand, it's well-known worldwide. We're proud to be their partners here in Australia. And we've got plenty of other ROQ options as well.
Quick question from Amelia. What would you say is the, I guess, minimum order quantity to make the ROQ IMPRESS viable with the full setup?
You'd be looking around about 50 shirts. Anywhere between 20 and 50, depends really. But we
per hour?
If that's a minimum order quantity, if you've just got 20 shirts to do,
right,
you could do it on there, yeah. No problem at all. The amount of time it takes to set up, something around about 5 minutes.
Yep.
You know, so yes, you could heat press a few shirts in that time on a standard heat press.
Yeah.
But 35, 40, 50 shirts, you can set that up to do a run on it, no problems at all.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's that tipping point where you would move from doing things manually to turning the big machine on and getting it running.
No,
yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit now about some of our just general tips for getting the best results from your DTF prints. And I guess the one that we always harp on about Ian is environment, right?
Digital print. Anyone who's got digital printers, yeah, environment can affect your print. Okay, it is just as if not more important with DTF printers to make sure that you've got them in that good environment. Okay, it comes down to humidity and temperature. It's the condition that the inks are kept in even while they're not being printed as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to make sure that we've got it in a nice climate controlled environment.
Yeah.
Okay, temperature, humidity, both.
Yep.
Really important as well. Yeah. Yes, there is some steam and some heat that comes off these machines as well. So you are best to have it in a ventilated area as well.
Yeah.
Now it's going to warm up that room as well. Okay, so if you're in a really tight, small room that it just fits into and there's no windows and you've got the door closed, probably not the best environment for you to be working in. Okay, so you need to look at some ventilation, some through flow of air, open windows, things like that.
Yeah.
But you still also need to manage your temperature and your humidity as well.
I think the issue with ventilation is an important one just to focus on a little bit more. Obviously, the Coltex and the TY-300 here, they have those integrated ventilation systems, but you know, just going back to the question that we had before about PPE, you know,
important while you're handling the powder, 100%.
Yeah, if you are doing it manually, you need to be wearing a mask, you need to be wearing gloves, and you need to be wearing goggles. That is why all of our powder that ships from our warehouse has those warnings on it. And we do, you know, encourage everybody who is doing sheet-fed DTF and who is possibly handling powder to make sure that you take the appropriate protections with PPE, you know, because it is a powder. It's an adhesive powder, and you don't want to be breathing it in. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly right. With the enclosed systems of the bigger machines, while you're loading it, for example, or while you're transferring it from the bottom storage back up into the feeder, yes. Definitely advised to wear your PPE equipment at that stage as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wear it all the time. That's just best practice. Best practice.
Yeah, like we do it here. Our warehouse people do it when they're sending stuff out. So it's just a good habit to get into.
My word, exactly right. Really important one. Also, a dust-free environment as well. All right. If it's very dusty, it's always hard with t-shirts. People that deal with a lot of t-shirts know that you get a lot of fibres around. Okay, especially trying to keep that to a minimum, especially with your powder. You don't want all those extra fibres or dust falling into where your powder is, which can then go down onto your sheet and cause some issues as well. So keep it as dust-free as possible. And they're the main things that we need to look at with the environment. But again, harping on that maintenance of temperature and humidity.
Yeah.
Even when the printer's not printing, if we can maintain that temperature. I've got people that put doonas or bedspreads over their printers just to keep them a little bit warm
Right.
overnight.
Yeah. Well, they deserve that TLC, don't they?
That's what they do.
Yeah.
They do a great job for you.
And it's obviously different everywhere around Australia, right?
Yeah, it is,
for our
100%.
customers who are in Queensland versus in Tasmania versus South Australia versus everywhere. So, yeah.
My word. Yeah, totally different scenarios. If you do have questions about that, obviously ask one of us guys for some more information on. We can definitely fill you in with it.
Now, I believe the TY-300 is shipping with an environmental sensor on it, right?
Oh, I believe it is.
Yeah,
I
yeah. So you
right across it, but yeah.
Yeah, so you can see the ambient temperature and the humidity. So it's right in your face.
That's right.
Kind of thing. So make sure that the environment is front of mind when you're doing your
exactly.
when you're doing your printing.
The sheet fed machines have that same them same sensors in them.
Yeah.
The Brother machine, the Epson machines have them too. And if the machine doesn't have one, it's easy enough just to go to Bunnings and get a $50 or $40 one and put it next to your machine because it is highly important.
Yeah, for sure. What's next?
Okay, now we're going to, people who are already making t-shirts are probably preaching to the converted, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But DTF is exactly the same as any other print option. All right, so there are care instructions that you need to give with the printed product. Okay, we've got people who send out flyers in their shirts as well, just to include these garment cares.
Or tags on the shirt, yeah.
Which DTF's great for as well, for doing neck labels. Great for doing that as well. Now, it is from the testing that we've done here, it's probably the longest lasting print option. Okay, we've again tried to kill it here. We put other print types through harsh washers, put them into a tumble dryer. They tend to fall apart pretty quickly. DTF is the longest lasting one that we've seen through doing those tests. But if you look after it more readily, or your customers look after it more readily, it's going to last a lot longer.
Yeah.
So now I've got shirts at home that I've washed probably 60, 70 times, and they're still really good. You'd notice a slight difference between brand new and these products, but they're still great. Yeah. So the best things to think about, first of all, if you're doing DTG, for example, you want to let the garment sit for all the post-harden. Even don't instantly press a DTF product and then throw it straight in a washing machine. No. Give a little bit of time to post-harden as well. That's just letting the glue go off onto the shirt better, et cetera, et cetera. Now, don't dry clean it. Okay, this type of printed product, and works with all printed products, isn't made to be dry cleaned. Wash in cold water. I go through talking to people, and the best way, cold wash, inside out, and line dry. Yeah. If you do that, you're going to get the longest lasting print possible. The reason that we wash it inside out is in your washing machine, if you've got a pair of jeans in there with a metal zipper and it's in that spin cycle, and it's rubbing against that print, of course, it's going to rub it off. Yeah. All right, so if you wash it inside out, we don't get that problem. Yeah. Use mold detergents. Don't be using things like that you see on a printed product. All right? Or SARD or something like that. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Remove stains and use this beautiful big stain on a shirt and it's going to get them off. All right, so just cold power, something that's not harsh. Wash with those type of detergents. Yeah. And hang dry, line dry. Best inside out as well, so we don't get a fade on the print if it's left out on the line for a few days. You forget it's out there. Yeah. So line dry inside out as well. And don't dry clean. I think that's a big one as well. Like, these garments are meant to be, washed in cooler water. They're not meant to be exposed to the harsh chemicals of dry cleaning that can harm the print. And, this might seem like a bit of a no-brainer, but also don't iron them. If you have to iron a DTF or a DTG print, then at least do it inside out and try and stay away from the print if you can, if you kind of need to iron it. So that's our garment and product care tips. We do have more tips that our sales engineers can talk you through, but they're just the ones that we wanted to share with you guys today, especially for those people that are new to DTF and are just looking to get their toe wet or dip into the world of DTF. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, we do have a very special guest
here today our very good friend Marion Taggart-Holland from EcoLease. Now, Marion, you were at the Melbourne event. I should say EcoLease is our trusted finance supplier, and Marion made the effort of going to our Melbourne event and had a really great experience down there talking to lots of our Melbourne customers. And the reason that we thought it was important to bring you on today and also take you to and have you along in Melbourne was just to kind of explain why finance can be a really great option for people who are looking to consider getting into DTF and how it can benefit their business. So I know you've got 3 amazing tips that you like to share because, you know, people think, oh, it's just too hard or I don't have the finances. So should we go through those?
Yes.
Because there are lots of reasons, but I think these are your top 3.
They are my top 3, but thank you very much for having me here today. I'm very proud to be working with the GJS team. They're one of the best in the industry.
Oh, thank you.
So great to be here. So yeah, the top 3 finance tips that I have, as I said, many reasons, but number 1, we hear it a lot, but cash is king.
Yeah.
We're all running businesses. We need cash in our business to manage our day-to-day business. And what equipment finance does is it helps you get hold of income producing equipment like what we're surrounded with here.
Yeah.
And hang on to your cash.
Yeah.
So
and it does that by breaking it down into manageable weekly, monthly payments. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, lots of times I hear people say, I'm saving up, you know, saving up to buy the equipment. Don't do that. Like, get in now, because by the time you save the cash, sometimes you've missed the boat. You know, the text changed or whatever. So the sooner you can get
prices may have gone up,
Absolutely.
the exchange rate fluctuates, all that kind of jazz. Yeah.
And look, I've been in this, been doing this for 20 years. I don't think I've ever really heard anyone regret investing in equipment that's going to help their business grow.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. And you have helped so many of our customers, and we're so grateful for that. Yeah.
I'm happy to do so. Number 2, what's number 2? Oh, yes.
Pay for your equipment as it pays you, which is a very cool one. I love it because this equipment is income generating equipment. We have to keep reminding ourselves of that. It is making you money every single day that you're using it.
That's it. I often say to customers, would you pay for your staff 5 years in advance for the work that they're going to do over the next 5 years? So why would you pay for your equipment up front for what it's going to be generating for your business over the next 5 years?
That's a really great analogy. Yeah.
So, you know, like, so another great benefit of equipment finance is you're paying for it as it pays you.
Yeah.
And lastly, and this is a big one. Equipment finance helps you get a piece of equipment that's going to help you grow tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you might be looking at some of this equipment that you've seen today and go, oh, look, you know, that's, you know, we're not kind of at that stage yet. But I have found over the many years I've been doing this, as soon as businesses invest in equipment, they grow. It's hand in hand. What the equipment finance enables businesses to do is to get that piece of equipment that's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, better tech, cheaper ink, whatever it is, that's going to help them tomorrow.
Yeah.
So number 3,
yeah.
Equipment finance benefits.
Yeah. Out of all of there's obviously lots of other benefits as well, like depreciation, all that kind of thing, but those top 3, I think, are the key ones that, you know, people need to know about. And what's needed, because that's, I guess, the question that our team gets asked, and I'm sure you get asked when we send you customers who want to go through finance, is what's needed. And I think people are often quite surprised about how little is needed from businesses to obtain equipment finance.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good question. Look, lots of people are, you know, a bit scared of finance. I think, you know, they assume maybe I'm not going to be able to get approved. But time and time again, we're told, you know, that was just so simple. It is a lot easier than most people think.
Yeah.
And in fact, over the years, in the time that I've been doing equipment finance, it has actually got easier for businesses to get finance. So, look, the 2 main things that we're really looking for is you've got to have an ABN registered for a minimum of 2 years.
Yeah.
and credit scoring. So that's become a more important factor in financing. Businesses and individuals all have a credit score. So long as yours is above 550, generally we can get you approved.
Yeah.
And 550 is a pretty low bar. And on average, most people and businesses sit around 700. So
yeah. Okay.
There's other variables, but they are the two kind of key things for people to keep in mind.
Yeah. So finance may actually be closer than you possibly think it could be, and this equipment could possibly be more accessible to you than what you think it could be. So I guess, you know, the next step from, I guess, the application process is talking about ROI, because that's the thing that we get asked all the time. And like, we like to break it down with this graph, which we'll put on the next slide. So what we've taken here is essentially the Coltex D604 printer with the powder shaker unit attachment pricing, and we've broken that down across the 2, 3, 4, and 5 year payment amounts that is freely available via the calculator on our website. And the modest cost, and these are very, like, high level numbers. You obviously need to take into consideration other things like your overheads and things like that. But the cost of repaying a Coltex 604 solution is the equivalent of selling 6 shirts per week at $29.50. So, and I think for most people who are looking at that type of product, that type of high production solution, you're going to be selling more than six t-shirts a week at around that price. And obviously, you can be, charging more than that. We've seen customized t-shirts go upwards of $44, $50, dollars per item. So, that's kind of like a middle of the range amount for break even. And obviously you can see, if we just go back to that slide there, 6 shirts over 5 years, 8 shirts a week over 4 years, and then 9 shirts a week over 3 years, and 13 shirts a week over 2 years for those associated costs for finance there. So it really does show you how, I guess, accessible it is.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that it's a good benchmark, because I think if people know, if they can kind of visualise in their head, right, okay, that's what I need to do to cover that cost.
Yeah.
It gives them confidence to think, I can actually do this.
Yeah, just 6 shirts, six shirts a week, 6 shirts a week.
That's it, and I just think equipment is such a game changer for businesses, because it makes them more efficient. It helps you produce things that perhaps you can't do right now. So, as you said, a lot more affordable than people think.
Yeah, and we've been talking a lot about PacPrint throughout the course of this webinar. As we've been saying, we are going to be there. We're going to have this, all this kit on display. We're at stand H68 register, and we have a neighbour, which is going to be yourself. So you're also going to be there. So it's a perfect opportunity to visit us at our stand, get a quote from the guys, go next door, get your finance sorted from Marion, and then leave the show with an amazing new printing DTF solution.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, Marion, I will let you go, and then we are going to get the rest of the team back on set now, and we're just going to go through some questions. I know that we are approaching the end of the 2 hours that we had allotted for this. Cool. So let's have a look at what we have. Yeah, we can definitely email PDFs with garment care to you after this. Some good feedback there from Noisy Pixel. 60 washes on GJS hot peel, cold water. Yeah, no cracking as yet. Great to hear that that's working really amazing for you.
Thanks, Aldo.
Yeah, Shabu, if you want to send an email to sales@gjs.co, Just tell us where you're located and what your type of solution that you are interested in. We can definitely get back to you with some more information. Do the prints have a plasticky feel, or do they feel part of the shirt? Now, I think this is a really great one to address because it goes back to digital factory apparel and how we set up the artwork. Yeah, so look, it depends how you set it up. The way we've configured our machines is to use as little white ink as necessary to deliver the most vibrant colour. So reducing the volume of ink is going to reduce the feel, make the hand feel better, and also laying down or putting or adhering less adhesive to that white ink. And so the reason we pre-dry the ink on the film prior to having the adhesive added means that you get this nice soft hand. And these don't, you can hear that doesn't sound rubbery or plasticky. Yeah. They have a really nice hand. And so it's a combination. It's just the way you set the systems up. And here at GJS, we've done a lot of testing to deliver the best results. And you can see it here today. And I think Greg mentioned before that, you know, it's not just about black and white shirts. Like with digital factory apparel, you can knock out other colours as well. So if you're printing on a pink shirt or a light blue shirt, and you know, you can knock out those colours so that the t-shirt fills the background of the design and it has that softer feel. One of my customers had to do a job with a lady's face that had red lips, and they were putting on a red shirt, so we knocked it out and just left the black lines to define the lips, and it just give it a softer hand. Yeah. Yeah.
Always the best way to do it. Like you can see on these shirts we're wearing now, we didn't print the black on here. Yeah. It's the black of the shirt in the artwork. It's the best way to do it. Gives you that really soft feel. Yeah. And also the post press too, when we mat it off slightly. Yes. Using the baking paper, or there's other methods as well. That also helps reduce that feel, push it further into the shirt. And there are products that you can spray on the print prior to that post press that force the ink down into the garment, so that you see the thread count, so you can see the knit of the garment through the print, rather. A question from earlier about what's the best software for designing artwork? Photoshop or Illustrator, really. Yep. None of the software packages that come with these printers are there to design artwork. They're just a transport between the computer and the printer. Yeah. Learn Photoshop and Illustrator. Take the time to do that. It's the best thing you can do. We can help you there. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you're either a Photoshop person or you're an Illustrator person. I'm an Illustrator person. I'm a Photoshop person, but... Just depends on what type of... Yeah, depends on the... raster, vector, what you're working with. It does. Yeah. Great question from Kim there about, for someone who is new to printing, how crucial would you consider PacPrint? Now, we've talked about a lot of stuff today, and it's been, we hopefully it's been really informative for you all. But you know, if you are going to get started in this industry and with DTF, you really do need to come and you need to touch and feel everything. You need to see the printers in person. You need to see the output that they produce. You need to see the printed garments. So you really need to touch and feel, and that's what this webinar was all about. Just giving people a little bit of a preview of what we're going to have at PacPrint. But you know, we do encourage everyone here, and we're going to be encouraging all of our customers to come down and visit us at Stand H68. It's the biggest show I think we've ever done, you know, and it's just really going to give you that in-person, tangible, you know, feeling of what things are going to feel like when they're printed, and also the time to speak to the guys on the stand. Conversation with one of us rather than looking at us through a computer screen. Yeah, it's obviously going to be better. Yeah. So, anything else? What about in the Q&A? Was there anything else in the Q&A, Greg, that we needed to address? Oh yeah, of course. If you can't make it to PacPrint on the 20th to the 23rd of May, as you can see, we've got a fairly full and kitted out showroom. It will be set up like this and for the next 20 days, I guess. No, it'll probably be set up like this for the next, I'd say, 10 days. 10 days? We have to start pulling things down and working out transport for the PacPrint event. Yeah, so if you do want to make an appointment and come and have a personalised demo, make sure you do that because, yeah, it's an opportune time to see all this kit all in one place. Yeah. We're happy to talk you through anything. Yep. Oh, some great feedback there on the GTX Pro as well. All right, they are, yes.
Yeah, and I think it's really important as well just to take a moment to just acknowledge our partners, you know, Brother, Roland and Epson, who have either provided machines for us today or the live cross from Ryan at the Epson Experience Centre. You know, we definitely appreciate the fact that they give us this access and that they give us the ability to bring these machines to you. And, you know, we couldn't do that without them either. So shout out to Brother, to Roland and to Epson for your support. Yeah, really awesome. And yes, we will send you info for the expo, Kaz. Yeah, and that invoice for the Impress after we finish here. So look, I think that we are pretty much done. So I know this has been a really, really long webinar. It's been almost 2 hours, but most of you have hung in there right to the very end. And we're really excited about PacPrint and all the new tech that's coming in the DTF space. So register, get on down. A huge thank you to Ian, to Michael, to Marion, to Greg, and to our roaming cameraman, Connor, who's been helping us out today. It really has been an amazing... Oh, actually, we do have one more thing before we go. And this is just for you, Kaz. So if we can zoom in on the glow-in-the-dark designs from the Coltex, the fluoro designs. That is Kaz's design there, the Pride one. These are just amazing, amazing fluorescents that are coming off the Coltex. Thanks for the reminder, Greg. Oh, we almost missed this.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, was that? It was Matt? Oh, thanks, Matt.
You just go to show you working with people that use black lights, night clubs, things like that.
Yeah.
Comes up so good.
Disco bowling, all those kind of things. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I'm glad that we got that in. Special one for you, Kaz. As we said, get down to PacPrint. Check us out, 20th to the 23rd of May. We'll see you there. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope you found this informative, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, heaps.
Bye.